So, hello everyone, and welcome to today's recording. I'm going to be showing us, talking a little bit about the course that is coming up um, on the 31st of July. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to be talking about. So, yes, welcome on board. So, this course is coming up on the 31st of July, 2025, and there are going to be four modules in that course. Sorry, this course is moving quite a bit. There are going to be four modules in the course. Um, it's going to be talking about public relations, media, and stakeholder management, and we're going to take each of the modules one after the other. The purpose of the course is really to just help either communications professionals or practitioners or business leaders and entrepreneurs understand how they can be more strategic about how they present themselves to the public, how they interact with stakeholders, and generally how they make themselves a very very treasured part of the community and the society. While preparing for this course, it occurred to me that every business organization actually needs a PR plan, whether you realize it or not. And some people actually have PR plans without knowing that that's what they are. So what we're doing in this course, we're going to be focusing on teaching how to use the media, social media, and how to be more strategic in your public relations to make your business and your brand more visible, impactful, and also effective. So, like I said, there are four modules. The first module, we start up with why you need a strategic public relations plan and how to develop and deploy one. Now, public relations is the way in which a business, an organization, or a brand presents itself to the public. That's really what it is. And you make yourself a part of the society in a way that the society welcomes you and it wants you to always be part of them. And this is something that you do not know the value of it until you find yourself in a situation whereby you actually need to draw on that goodwill. It's always good for organizations to have invested goodwill upfront for the day when you will need to really pull from that well of goodwill. Whether you're a school, you're a hospital, you're an NGO, you are a brand, you're a business, you do not exist in a vacuum. You exist because society allows and permits you to continue to operate in that way. Once society says they don't want you there anymore, you can't continue. And I think a lot of businesses, they don't realize this. Because I'm a PR and communications practitioner, I realize how real this is because I've seen many businesses lose public goodwill and everything goes down the drain from there. So there is the legal mandate that you have from the government to operate, and then there's the moral one that the society gives you, either knowingly or unknowingly, consciously or unconsciously. But if you do not go out of your way to build relationships with key stakeholders in that space, you may have problems. So that's really what we're going to be talking about on the 31st of July. So the role of public relations, why it is still relevant today, how to be more strategic, being ethical in your PR too. And I think that's another important conversation that we need to have, because sometimes people think that just because the end justifies the means, the end does not justify the means in public relations. It's not acceptable for you to just do anything anyhow simply because you want to relate with stakeholders. Therefore, there are rules. There must be rules that you must be governed by. Your business is governed by, and that also needs to be clear in your public relations. Of course, the bigger you are, the more the exposure is. So all of that, we'll talk a little bit about that and how to develop a PR plan that is suitable for your business, your brand, and organization. Now, PR plans vary, and we will talk about this on the course as well. A PR plan for a big company is very different from that for a small company. Sorry about that. It's not the same at all. And so a PR plan, that's why we're talking about being strategic. It has to be suited to your own context. It has to be suited to whatever it is that you are trying to do. You cannot take a PR plan from one organization and say because you're in the same sector, you want to do exactly that. It doesn't make sense, because there has to be an objective, there has to be a context, there has to be what you're trying to achieve. No two organizations, no two brands are in the same situation. Even different brands within the same company, maybe ownership structure, they have different stakeholders, they have different things that they're trying to achieve, they have different contexts, operating environments, and realities. So your PR plan has to be very customized and relevant to your context. Now, media and social media is also an important part of how you relate with the public. And in the module two, we're going to be talking about the importance of media relations, how the media works today, how to manage social media issues, which is becoming a really big thing because a lot of people We're just seeing a lot in that space that shows that there's a whole lot more that we can learn about how to use social media better, how to manage misinformation, how to reach audiences effectively through media or social media. That's, knowing when, when do I use traditional media? When do I go with print, newspapers, yeah, or radio, which is what you call traditional media? When do I go with the more, established or maybe social media? I use my website and that kind of thing. How do I do the mix? When it's in crisis period, how do I use the media? Just even understanding your media landscape, how your media landscape is very important. Now, this is important for, I personally believe that every PR and communications professional needs to have media awareness. You need to understand the media landscape. You need to understand how to do media relations. Even if you're not doing it in your day job, get some training and find some exposure, attend media events and things like that, so you have a sense of how it works. Because I don't think you can be an effective practitioner without having some level of competence or knowledge or skill around the media and social media. So we will talk about the knowledge and skills to become a media relations generalist and a specialist. And if you're an entrepreneur and you join the course also, we'll also be talking about how you can use the media to advance the cause of your business and social media, what you should be doing, how to make decisions about the level of your media strategy and that kind of thing. And I mean, I actually did a video saying you cannot ignore social media. I think that's a very strong message that we need to pass across to our business leaders right now, because some people think, oh, social media is just a place where people they're just doing, they don't know what they're doing on social media. That time has passed. Social media is the places where presidents make press statements now. So social media is no longer that thing that children are playing with on their phone. It is not a joke anymore. It has become a very strong influencing tool in business, in politics, in society. So you can't be, I mean, a place where social media now, political and business leaders, society leaders, influencers, the richest men in the world, they use social media to engage people. Enough said. You have no reason for not being there. So it's not about if, it's about how, when, which, and why. And you need media specialists to help you walk that path. So all of that we're going to be talking about. Then the third module, we're now going to stakeholder management. Now, stakeholder management is a concept that a lot of people who, if you're in management, you understand this, because there are people who are outside of your organization that are very, very important to what happens in your organization and how effective your organization or your business or your brand is. They may be regulators, they may be investors, they may be shareholders, they may be government officials, they may be community members, they could be NGOs, they could be policy think tanks, whoever. They are people who, in fact, policymakers can wake up one morning and come up with a policy that grounds your business overnight, and you will be caught napping. But if you do not have a way of already having relationships and structured engagements with them, you will get to know when they are planning to do those things, and you'll be in a position. If you've built a relationship, you should be in a position, particularly if you're a big brand, to influence some of the thinking around what they're going to do, because policymakers too need inputs from the people who are going to be impacted. But if you're not present, it's the people that are around them that they will listen to. So these are all the things, and these are relationships that have to be worked ahead of time. And a lot of time you make a lot of investment in it. Even knowing how to have a structured plan around your stakeholder management. I mean, I'm a consultant, SANU, we consult for a lot of major brands across sectors. And I kid you not, the difference between the organizations who have a structured approach to stakeholder management and those that do not is like night and day. There's a big difference, because this is business. If you want, I mean, you can afford to be careless or lackadaisical about your stakeholder management if you do not, if you are not concerned about results and outcomes. But if you are very concerned about results and outcomes, and you really, really intend to achieve certain goals, then you cannot leave it to chance. You have to a matrix. You have to have stakeholder list, stakeholder mapping, stakeholder segmentation, stakeholder engagement strategy, communication strategy, all of that. You have to have relationship managers. There's a whole structure that you have to build around how to manage those stakeholders. Otherwise, they're going to be in problem. Again, the bigger your business is, the bigger the exposure is. And why we always ask, we say it's good to put these things in place is because if you're a big organization, you want that structure to be in place so that regardless of whether people move off a job. I mean, I've seen some businesses where they say, oh, there's one guy that used to help us clear things in the ports, for instance, in the Nigerian context, when you're importing things. And then when that guy leaves, nobody else can clear anything in the ports because nobody knows who he relates with. Nobody knows how he gets the approvals. Nobody knows, that whole process is not being managed in a structured way. And the entire business suffers for it, sometimes months, maybe even years in a very worst case scenario. So these are sort of things that we're going to be talking about: managing stakeholder relationships, those people that can ground our business either through the positions that they hold formally or informally. So in module 4, we then bring everything together where we say, how do we build an integrated public relations, media, and stakeholder management plan? And we will talk about and bring all of that together, how to connect public relations with media and the relationship with stakeholders. Because, I mean, if you're managing relationships with regulators, let's assume there's a policy that a regulator is coming up with that you want to be sure that, they have all the guidance that you need. You will have to engage them one on one. But you also need to think about your PR, the PR element of that advocacy. You also need to think about the media element of that advocacy. It may require you making some media appearances, saying certain things at conferences and exhibitions, and making sure that the media carry certain of those stories, because there is an agenda that you're trying to bring together for the business, for the sector, for the industry, or for the initiative that you're involved in. That's how these things work, and they are done. This is how big business, big institutions, this is how they operate. Like I said, if you have a plan and you have an objective that you're trying to achieve, you will follow it in a strategic manner. But if you're not particularly, as in, well, no matter, everyone, God for us, everybody for himself and God for us all. If that's how you want to run it, fine. But if you have investors' money in your hand and you have promised them that you're going to deliver certain things, and certain relationships are standing in the way or could make or mar your ability to hit those goals, then you have to manage things a little bit structured. And for me, these are all levers that we can use. Sometimes not everything is resolved through PR. Sometimes it may just be stakeholder engagement. Sometimes media may not even be required. In fact, many times media is not. But where it's important to understand the media is that sometimes your goal may be even to manage the exposure, make sure that nothing leaks in the media. And you have to know enough about the media to know how to prevent a leak. Do you understand what I'm saying? If it's like somebody, if you are a sailor, if you don't know anything about boats, you don't know how to prevent a leak into a boat. You don't know where the places that are more prone to leaks in the boat are. So you can't do anything because you don't even know how a boat operates and it functions. You've never sailed one before. So this course is really about helping us understand a little bit more about the media so that we can manage the exposures in those places. So it's not so much about saying by force you must have a media plan. It's about knowing how to make sure that even if any exposure comes your way, either through the media or whatever, you can also manage it. At least worst case scenario, you know who to call and you know what to do, what not to do. So the last module, which is the fifth one, we'll be talking about key performance indicators. How do I know if my PR efforts are successful? How do I measure the impact of my media activities? How do I attribute success to my relationship building efforts? All of that, just to just really make sure that whatever it is that we're doing is actually bringing results, not just doing stuff. We always believe at SNA, we believe in measuring outcomes, not activities. So every time we always end all of our courses talking about key performance indicators. And in those key performance indicators, we always focus on outcomes. So we're always looking for measurable and trackable outcomes that we can talk about. So that's it. This is the second cohort. We have only one of these live courses every year, and we currently don't even have this course on our online platform, our e-platform, learn.sholaabuluassociates.com. So if you want to join this course, the only time you can and be on a session with us for now at the moment is to join us on the 31st of July. I will be in class. I'll be going through all these modules with you and register. And yeah, enrollment ends on the 29th of July. We look forward to having you in class. I hope this has been useful for you and I really, really would love to have you in class. Drop a comment, drop a chat, or send me an email at training@sholaabuluassociates.com. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much.